Welcome back to our channel, Soap Fans. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the juiciest, most explosive drama Los Angeles has to offer. We have a massive update that will shake the very foundations of Forrester Creations and Spencer Publications, so buckle up and let's get right into the madness. The sterile, blindingly white hallways of Los Angeles Memorial Hospital are about to become ground zero for the most cataclysmic family collision in the history of the bold and the beautiful. If you thought the runway wars were vicious, you have seen absolutely nothing yet. The simmering, toxic feud between the Forresters and the Spencers has officially bypassed corporate espionage and boardroom shouting matches. We have crossed the absolute point of no return, and the fallout is going to be measured in blood, bruises, and shattered lives. Will Spencer is a dead man walking. The young Spencer heir, completely consumed by a suffocating wave of guilt and regret following the disastrous, violent brawl at the Bikini Bar, makes the most foolish, dangerous decision of his entire life. He decides to play the hero. He decides to seek forgiveness. Will dares to step foot onto the exclusive, heavily guarded VIP floor of the hospital where Eric Forrester is currently fighting to recover. Will is battered, bruised from his previous fistfight with RJ Forrester, and visibly trembling as he navigates the quiet, clinical corridors. He wants to apologize. He wants to look the Forrester patriarch in the eye and beg for mercy. But Will is about to learn a brutal, unforgiving lesson: you do not approach a wounded lion's den when the rest of the pride is out for blood. Pacing outside Eric's hospital room like a caged, feral tiger is Ridge Forrester. Ridge is operating on pure, unfiltered adrenaline and murderous rage. He has spent hours watching his beloved father, the legendary founder of Forrester Creations, lying unconscious and battered in a hospital bed. Ridge has survived decades of corporate sabotage, romantic betrayals, and scandalous family secrets, but seeing his patriarch physically struck down by a Spencer kid has completely snapped his sanity. Ridge is no longer a sophisticated dressmaker, he is a ruthless, vengeful gladiator waiting for an execution. The exact moment Ridge's eyes lock onto Will Spencer, the temperature in the hospital corridor plummets to absolute zero. The visual collision is electric. Ridge stops dead in his tracks. His jaw clenches so hard it looks like it might shatter. The veins in his neck bulge against his tailored collar. He sees the boy who put his father in a hospital bed casually strolling down the hallway as if he has any right to breathe the same air as the Forresters. The sheer audacity of Will's presence is the spark that ignites a massive, uncontrollable powder keg. Ridge does not hesitate. He closes the distance between them with terrifying, predatory speed. His footsteps echo loudly against the polished linoleum, a rhythmic drumbeat of impending doom. Will freezes in his tracks. The young Spencer instantly realizes he has made a fatal miscalculation. The air is entirely sucked out of the corridor. The rhythmic beeping of the ICU monitors in the background suddenly sounds like a ticking time bomb counting down to Will's absolute destruction. Will raises his hands in a desperate, frantic gesture of surrender. He stammers, his voice cracking under the crushing weight of Ridge's lethal glare. "Ridge, please. I just came to apologize. It was an accident. I never meant to hurt Eric." The words tumble out of Will's mouth in a panicked rush, but they fall on completely deaf ears. Ridge isn't hearing apologies. He isn't hearing excuses. All Ridge hears is the sickening sound of his elderly father hitting the floor at the Bikini Bar. All Ridge sees is the Spencer logo stamped across the face of the boy who dared to assault a Forrester. Ridge cuts him off with a voice that drips with pure, unadulterated venom. "You came to apologize?" Ridge spits the words out as if they are poison on his tongue. "You think a pathetic apology is going to fix what you did to my father? You think you can just walk in here, shed a tear, and walk away?" Ridge's voice escalates from a low, dangerous growl to a deafening, terrifying roar that rattles the windows of the intensive care unit. "You put my father in that bed. You put your filthy Spencer hands on Eric Forrester." Before Will can even draw another breath to defend himself, Ridge loses every single ounce of his self-control. The primal, protective instinct of a son avenging his father completely takes over. Ridge pivots his weight, pulls his arm back, and unleashes a thunderous, bone-crushing punch straight into Will Spencer's jaw. The physical impact is sickeningly loud, a sharp, violent crack that echoes violently down the sterile hospital corridor. The kinetic energy of the strike is absolutely devastating. Will's head snaps back with whiplash-inducing force. His feet are literally lifted off the ground as the sheer momentum of Ridge's fury launches him backward. Will's body crumples helplessly, crashing hard onto the unforgiving, polished floor tiles. He slides several feet, his limbs tangling awkwardly as a fresh stream of blood immediately bursts from his split lip. The young Spencer heir is left completely stunned, his vision swimming, his ears ringing from the concussive force of the blow. Nurses at the nearby station gasp in absolute horror. A tray of medical instruments is knocked over, clattering loudly to the floor in the ensuing chaos. But Ridge Forrester does not care who is watching. He does not care about the optics, the hospital rules, or the legal consequences. Ridge steps forward, towering menacingly over Will's fallen, battered body. He looks down at the bleeding Spencer with eyes that hold absolutely zero mercy. "You are going to pay for this," Ridge roars, pointing a trembling, furious finger directly at Will's face. "I am going to make sure you rot in a cell for what you did. I will strip you of your freedom. I will completely dismantle your career. I will destroy every single thing you have ever cared about. You dared to touch a Forrester, and now you are going to face the full, merciless wrath of this family. You are a dead man, Will." Ridge's threats are not empty words, they are ironclad promises forged in the fires of a blood feud. Just as Ridge steps forward, seemingly preparing to haul Will up by his collar and continue the brutal assault, a familiar, chilling sound cuts through the chaos. The elevator doors at the end of the hallway slide open with a soft, electronic ding. It is a cheerful, mundane sound that aggressively masks the arrival of an impending apocalypse. Stepping out of the elevator, dressed in a sharp, bespoke suit and radiating absolute authority, is Dollar Bill Spencer. Bill has arrived at the hospital expecting to manage damage control, perhaps to comfort Katie or strategize his next corporate maneuver. Instead, his sharp eyes instantly lock onto the horrific scene unfolding 50 feet away. He sees his flesh and blood, his youngest son, bleeding and sprawled out on the hospital floor. He sees his eternal, hated rival, Ridge Forrester, standing triumphantly over him, fists still clenched and dripping with aggression. The transformation in Bill Spencer is instantaneous and absolutely terrifying. The calculating, smug billionaire playboy vanishes in a microsecond, instantly replaced by a ruthless, feral warlord protecting his cub. Bill lets out a roar that shakes the very foundation of the building. He charges down the hallway with the unstoppable, terrifying momentum of a runaway freight train. The sheer speed and aggression of his approach force two security guards to instinctively step back out of his path. "Get your hands off my son!" Bill's voice booms like a crack of thunder. He collides with Ridge, shoving the Forrester co-CEO backward with a massive, two-handed strike to the chest. Ridge stumbles back a few steps but quickly catches his balance, his own fury flaring even higher as he faces off against the Spencer patriarch. The ultimate clash of titans has officially commenced. Two billionaires, two patriarchs, two men who have hated each other for decades, are now standing chest to chest in a hospital corridor, ready to tear each other apart with their bare hands. The tension is so thick it is suffocating. The air crackles with pure, explosive hatred. "You want to hit a kid, Ridge?" Bill snarls, stepping directly into Ridge's personal space, his eyes blazing with a lethal, unhinged fire. "You want to play the tough guy with my boy? Try me. I will snap your neck right here in front of these cameras. You touch Will again, and I swear to God, I will end you." Bill's threats are delivered with a cold, terrifying sincerity. He is not posturing, he is fully prepared to commit murder in a public hospital to protect his son. Ridge does not flinch. He stands his ground, his chest heaving, his face inches from Bill's. "Your animal of a son put Eric in the ICU." Ridge spits back, his voice vibrating with raw, unfiltered hatred. "He assaulted RJ, and then he attacked an old man. You should be on your knees thanking me that he is only walking away with a bloody lip. I am pressing charges, Bill. I am calling the police, and I am going to watch them slap cuffs on your precious boy. You call the cops, and I will unleash an army of lawyers that will bury Forrester creations so deep you won't even remember what a runway looks like. Bill fires back, his hands balled into tight, white-knuckled fists. This was an accident, and you know it. But what you just did. That was a calculated assault. I will ruin you, Ridge. I will take everything you own, and I will leave you with absolutely nothing. The standoff is a seismic event. This is no longer about stolen dress designs, corporate espionage, or runway rivalries. This is a blood-soaked vendetta. The feud between the Spencers and the Forresters has officially crossed a line from which there is absolutely no return. As hospital security finally swarms the corridor, desperately trying to pry the two screaming billionaires apart, Will slowly pushes himself up off the floor, wiping the fresh blood from his mouth, completely horrified by the cataclysmic war he has just ignited. Meanwhile, a devastating shockwave is rapidly heading straight for Elektra Forrester. The young, conflicted designer is about to be violently pulled into the absolute center of this nightmare. Elektra has already been struggling with her lingering, forbidden feelings for Will, despite the strict, unforgiving ban placed upon her by the Forrester family. But now, the stakes have been raised to a lethal level. When Elektra hears the news that Will was brutally punched in the face by Ridge, her entire world will completely shatter. The Romeo and Juliet tragedy has reached a fever pitch. How can she possibly navigate this impossible, soul-crushing dilemma? Ridge, a man she looks up to as a fierce protector of her family, has just physically assaulted the man she loves. Will, the man who holds her heart, is responsible for putting her grandfather in a hospital bed. Elektra is being pushed into a desperate, agonizing corner. She is going to be forced to choose a side in a war that is guaranteed to leave massive casualties on both sides. If she chooses Will, she will be instantly excommunicated from the Forrester family, branded a traitor, and cast out of the legacy she has worked so hard to build. If she chooses the Forresters, she must turn her back on Will during his darkest, most vulnerable hour, abandoning him to face Ridge's merciless legal and personal wrath completely alone. The emotional paralysis Elektra is about to experience will be excruciating to watch. She is going to be torn apart by her loyalties, her love, and her duty. RJ will undoubtedly use this horrific incident to further isolate Elektra from Will, whispering in her ear that Will is a violent, uncontrollable monster who got exactly what he deserved. Melissa Dillon will simultaneously use this chaos to swoop in and comfort a battered, broken Will, cementing her place by his side while Elektra is trapped behind enemy lines. The battle lines have been drawn in wet cement, and the cement is rapidly drying. Ridge is going to demand absolute, unwavering loyalty from every single person carrying the Forrester name. Bill is going to demand the exact same from the Spencers. Anyone caught in the middle, like Elektra, Hope, or Katie, is going to be crushed by the sheer, unstoppable force of these two warring factions. This hospital brawl is the spark that is going to burn Los Angeles high society straight to the ground. The police will be called. Restraining orders will be filed. Press conferences will be hijacked. The fashion war is over. The war for survival has officially begun. Ridge has tasted blood, and Bill is ready to burn the world to protect his son. Will this bloody hospital brawl send Will to prison, or will Bill destroy Forrester first? Next. In any other world, it signifies closure. In the twisted, blood-soaked universe of Sheila Carter, it is nothing but the pulling of a pin on a live grenade. The collision of fate and high-stakes consequences is hurtling toward Deacon Sharp, and he does not even see the devastating impact coming. Deacon Sharp thinks he just dodged a bullet. He thinks he walked through the fire of a Sheila Carter marriage and somehow came out without a single burn. He is walking around Los Angeles like a man who just beat the house in Las Vegas. Today, at the Bikini Bar, Deacon made his monumental relief official. He sat across from Taylor Hayes, clinking glasses and celebrating what he believes is the ultimate victory. He looked the world-renowned psychiatrist in the eye and marveled at his own luck. Deacon actually believes Sheila let him go. He is celebrating the fact that there were no screaming matches. There were no violent ultimatums. There was no drawn-out, blood-spilling fight. There was only a quiet signature on a piece of divorce paper. He called it real, tangible proof that the woman he married has genuinely changed. He is buying into the illusion that the monster has finally been tamed. Deacon is practically throwing a parade for Sheila's newfound grace, completely blind to the sniper rifle she just aimed at his entire future. But anyone who has watched Sheila Carter operate for longer than a single week knows a quiet exit has never been her style. A graceful surrender is not in her DNA. Deacon is about to learn that lesson the hard, brutal way. Taylor Hayes is not exactly talking him out of this delusion either. In fact, she is pouring gasoline on the fire. Taylor has spent weeks entertaining the exact same dangerous theory. She is telling anyone who will listen that Sheila really is capable of growth. Sitting there together at the bikini bar, congratulating themselves on Sheila's supposed redemption, neither of them seem to notice the terrifying timing of it all. They are so blinded by their own romantic bliss that they are missing the massive, glaring red flags waving right in front of their faces. The signed divorce papers landed at the exact moment Sheila needed something bigger. She did not sign those papers because she was ready to move on. She signed them because she needed a clean slate to execute her real master plan. Sheila needed a way back into her son's life, with absolutely no strings attached. A signature on a divorce document was never the whole plan. It was merely the admission ticket to a much deadlier game. Rewind the clock less than 2 weeks, and the story looks a lot less simple. It looks like a calculated, predatory trap. Sheila spent days dragging out the actual signing of those papers. She played a psychological game of cat and mouse with Deacon. She dangled the paperwork in front of him. She made him sweat. She made him beg. And then, suddenly, she put pen to paper and declared she did not want to be with someone who does not love her. It was a performance worthy of an Oscar. It was the perfect victim act, designed to lower everyone's defenses. And Deacon fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Since that signature dried, Sheila has spent the better part of 2 weeks working an entirely different, far more dangerous angle. She marched straight into John Finnegan's hospital office. She cornered her son and launched a relentless psychological assault. She pressed Finn over and over for a place in Steffi and Hayes' life. She unleashed the waterworks. She tore up, crying about how much she has changed. She weaponized her own vulnerability to chip away at Finn's defenses. She reminded him, with a chilling intensity, that she is his mother. She made it crystal clear that this biological fact remains true whether Steffi Forrester likes it or not. Sheila is staking her claim, and she is using every manipulative trick in the book to do it. Even after Finn stood his ground, even after he told her plainly that he cannot see her anymore, Sheila kept pushing. She refused to accept his rejection. She insisted that he is the one person on this earth who owes her a second chance. That is not the behavior of a woman at peace with letting go. That is the behavior of a predator locking onto a new target. A woman who has accepted her fate does not stalk her son at his workplace and demand access to her grandson. This is not new territory for Sheila Carter. She has manipulated Deacon Sharp in the most violating, extreme ways imaginable before. He should know better than anyone how her twisted mind operates. Does Deacon not remember the mask? Does he not remember when Sheila disguised herself entirely, creating a fake identity just to manipulate her way into his bed? She conned him in the most intimate way possible, and he is somehow forgetting that history right now. Does Deacon not remember the secrets? Sheila hid an entire relationship with her granddaughter, Luna Nozawa, right behind his back. She kept the existence of her evil, manipulative granddaughter a total secret while Deacon foolishly believed there were no lies left between them. Luna committed horrific, evil acts before her presumed death, and Sheila harbored the dark connection while smiling in Deacon's face. A graceful exit has never once been how Sheila Carter actually says goodbye. She operates in the shadows. She thrives on deception. Deacon Sharp desperately wants to believe the woman who signed those papers without a fight is finally at peace. He wants to believe he is free. But Sheila does not do peace. Sheila does patience. And there is a massive, deadly difference between the two. Every single time Sheila has looked defeated in the past, she has actually been building toward the next play. When she looks like she is surrendering, she is actually reloading. And this time, the play is Finn. The ultimate prize is not Deacon Sharp. The prize is Hayes Finnegan. Handing over the divorce papers cost her absolutely nothing. It was a strategic sacrifice. If that signature buys her a way back into her son's life, it is the greatest trade she has ever made. Deacon is the last person who should be surprised by that terrifying math. He knows how she calculates her moves. Yet, he is sitting at a bar, toasting to his freedom, completely unaware that he was just a pawn on Sheila's chessboard. If Deacon is right, and Sheila truly has changed, he will have earned the happy ending he is chasing with Taylor. He will finally get to stop looking over his shoulder. He will get to live a normal life. But if he is wrong, and decades of bloody history say he absolutely is, karma is not finished with either one of them yet. The fallout is going to be biblical. And Taylor Hayes may be the one who ends up blindsided right alongside him. Taylor is already playing a very dangerous game. She is actively vouching for Sheila behind the scenes. She is telling Steffi and Finn that Sheila is reformed. She is putting her entire professional reputation on the line for a psychopath. Taylor's credibility is riding on a bet she cannot actually control. She is playing with fire, and she is doing it in Steffi's house. Steffi has explicitly forbidden Sheila from coming near her family, and Taylor is actively undermining that boundary. The timing only makes this impending disaster worse. Deacon and Taylor are toasting Sheila's growth at the exact moment she is quietly working the one relationship that could hand her everything she wants. They are celebrating while Sheila is plotting. If Sheila's plan pays off, Deacon will not only look incredibly naive. He will have actively helped sell the very story that made her infiltration possible. By telling everyone Sheila has changed, Deacon is acting as her unwitting PR agent. He is clearing the path for her to get to Finn. He is giving Finn the false sense of security needed to drop his guard. Deacon is handing Sheila the keys to the Finnegan home, all while thinking he just locked her out of his own life. Steffi Forrester is already on high alert. She is a fortress when it comes to protecting her children. When she finds out that Taylor and Deacon are not only dating, but actively campaigning for Sheila's redemption, the explosion will shatter Los Angeles. Steffi will not just be angry. She will be apocalyptic. She will see Taylor's defense of Sheila as the ultimate betrayal. The mother-daughter bond between Steffi and Taylor is about to be tested like never before, and it might not survive the blast. Sheila Carter knows exactly what she is doing. She is dividing and conquering. By letting Deacon go, she has neutralized her biggest distraction. By fooling Taylor, she has gained a powerful, credible advocate. Now, all her energy is focused on Finn. She is isolating him. She is wearing him down. She knows that Finn has a soft spot for his birth mother, and she is exploiting it with ruthless precision. The trap is set. The bait has been taken. Deacon and Taylor are dancing in the crosshairs, completely oblivious to the danger surrounding them. They think the war is over, but the truth is, the opening shots have not even been fired yet. When Sheila finally drops the mask, when she finally springs her trap, there will be nowhere to hide. The peace they are celebrating today will be the very thing that destroys them tomorrow. Deacon Sharp is about to learn that you never truly divorce Sheila Carter. You only survive her until she decides to strike again. And right now, she is preparing for the kill.